In the year 2157, humanity stood at the threshold of a new era. Earth's resources had dwindled to critical levels, and the once vibrant blue planet now bore the scars of centuries of exploitation. It was in this moment of crisis that Professor James Miller made a discovery that would forever alter humanity's trajectory. Deep within an Antarctic research facility, Miller and his team uncovered a peculiar mineral with properties that defied conventional physics. They named it stellarite, a substance capable of generating clean, limitless energy when properly harnessed. What made this discovery even more extraordinary was that stellarite seemed to respond to human brainwaves, creating a unique symbiotic relationship between man and material. This isn't just a power source, Miller told his colleagues during the initial briefing. This is evolution knocking at our door. The world's governments, setting aside their differences for perhaps the first time in history, formed the United Earth Council. Their first decree was the establishment of the Stellarite Initiative, a global effort to integrate the mineral into every facet of human technology. Within a decade, the first stellarite-powered ships were constructed in Earth's orbit. These vessels, known as pioneers, could achieve speeds previously thought impossible. The first test flights around the solar system took mere hours instead of months or years. Commander Lisa Reed, the first human to pilot a stellarite vessel beyond Mars, reported an unexpected side effect. "This ship, it's like it knows what I'm thinking before I do. It's responding to my intentions, not just my commands." This revelation led to the development of neural interface technology, allowing humans to control stellarite tech with nothing but thought. It was as if humanity had discovered not just a new energy source, but an extension of themselves. As the 22nd century came to a close, Earth had transformed. Environmental damage was being reversed, energy crises were forgotten memories, and humanity stood united with their gaze fixed firmly on the stars. What the people of Earth didn't know was that they were being watched. Among the countless stars that dotted the night sky, ancient civilizations had taken notice of the sudden surge of unusual energy signatures emanating from the third planet of an unremarkable yellow star. "The humans have discovered stellarite," announced Elder Thorne to the Galactic Council, his voice resonating through the vast chamber. "They are still primitive, but their advancement rate is concerning." "Let them play with their new toys," replied Council Member Vex dismissively. "They're confined to their system. By the time they reach interstellar capability, we'll have decided what to do with them." Little did the Council know that humanity's first interstellar journey was already being planned, and with it, the balance of power that had existed for millennia was about to be irrevocably shattered. The year 2215 marked humanity's great leap into the unknown. The ISV Pathfinder, humanity's first true interstellar vessel, prepared for its maiden voyage to Alpha Centauri. With a crew of 50 specialists led by Captain Marcus Tanner, the mission represented humanity's boldest gamble. "This is where we discover if we're alone in the universe," Tanner told his crew during the final briefing, "or if we're just fashionably late to the party." The Pathfinder's launch was watched by billions. As the massive ship engaged its stellarite drive, it didn't just accelerate. It seemed to bend reality itself, creating a slipstream through space-time that allowed it to traverse 4 light-years in just 14 months. When the Pathfinder emerged in the Alpha Centauri system, the crew was met with an awe-inspiring sight, a massive ring-shaped structure orbiting the twin stars. It was clearly artificial and clearly ancient. "My God," whispered Science Officer Dr. Emily Wilson as she studied the preliminary scans. "This thing predates human civilization by at least 100,000 years." The structure, which the crew named the Centauri Ring, was dormant but largely intact. As exploration teams cautiously boarded it, they discovered something unexpected. The technology was compatible with stellarite. When connected to their equipment, ancient systems hummed to life, and vast databases began to unlock. "It's not just a structure," reported engineer Tom Garcia after days of analysis. "It's a stargate, one of many spread throughout the galaxy." The data revealed a startling truth. A vast network of ancient civilizations had once spanned the galaxy, connected by these stargates. They called themselves the Precursors, and they had mapped hundreds of habitable worlds before mysteriously disappearing 50,000 years ago. Even more surprising was the discovery that humans possessed a unique genetic marker that allowed them to interface with precursor technology, the same marker that had enabled them to bond with Stellarate in the first place. When the Pathfinder returned to Earth 2 years after its departure, it brought with it knowledge that would catapult humanity's development forward by centuries. Within decades, humanity had established colonies on 3 worlds beyond their solar system, utilizing the Stargate network to traverse vast interstellar distances. It was during the colonization of the 4th world, a lush garden planet named New Eden, that humanity finally encountered another spacefaring species. The Arcadians, tall, crystalline beings with 6 limbs, arrived in orbit just as the human colony ships were beginning their descent. Initial contact was tense but peaceful. The Arcadians, while technologically advanced, seemed genuinely shocked by humanity's presence and capabilities. "You navigate the old paths," their ambassador, Rill, stated during the first formal meeting. "This should not be possible." The council sealed the network when the precursors fell. "What council?" asked Governor Anna West, representing the human colonists. Rill's crystalline features shifted in what humans would later learn was an expression of concern. "The Galactic Council, the governing body of the 12 eldest species. They have ruled the known galaxy for 10,000 years, and they have never mentioned humanity." With this encounter, humanity realized they weren't just taking their first steps into the cosmos, they were stepping onto a stage where the play had been in progress for millennia. And somehow, they had been deliberately left out of the script. By 2300, humanity's unexpected arrival on the galactic stage had caused ripples throughout established civilization. The Galactic Council, comprised of the 12 oldest spacefaring species, had maintained order for 10 millennia through careful control of technology and resources. Humanity's sudden appearance, wielding technology they shouldn't possess and expanding at an unprecedented rate, threatened that carefully maintained balance. Admiral Jack Reynolds stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, flagship of the United Earth Fleet, as it approached Nexus Station, the massive space installation where the Council had reluctantly agreed to meet with human representatives for the first time. "They've been watching us for centuries," Reynolds told Ambassador David Foster as they prepared to disembark, "and deliberately keeping us isolated. The question is why." The Council chamber was a marvel of alien architecture, with 12 massive thrones arranged in a circle, each occupied by a representative of a founding species. The human delegation was given a small podium in the center, a clear message about their perceived status. "Humans," began High Counselor Mrath, a being composed of swirling energy contained within an ornate exoskeleton. "Your uncontrolled expansion and use of forbidden precursor technology violates galactic law. You will surrender all Stargate access codes and confine your activities to your home system until proper oversight can be established." Ambassador Foster remained unfazed. "With respect, Counselor, we weren't aware of these laws because you deliberately kept us ignorant of them. That suggests you fear what we represent." The accusation caused an uproar among the Council members, but the truth was undeniable. The Council had discovered Earth centuries ago and had classified humans as a genetic anomaly, the only known species with natural precursor DNA markers. They had quarantined the solar system, ensuring no contact would occur until they determined how to handle this potential threat. What they hadn't anticipated was humanity discovering Stellarate independently and breaking their quarantine from within. "Your genetic makeup makes you dangerous," explained Counselor Vex, the eldest member. "You interface with precursor technology intuitively, technology that nearly destroyed the galaxy once before. The restrictions we impose are for the good of all. Yet you use watered-down versions of that same technology to maintain your power," countered Foster. "We've seen your stargates, your energy systems. They're all derived from precursor tech, just less efficient than what we've developed. The negotiations stretched for weeks, with the Council attempting to intimidate, bribe, and finally reason with the human delegation. But humanity had a powerful bargaining chip. Their unique ability with precursor technology had already led to innovations that even the Council couldn't match. The Stellarite Revolution, as it came to be known throughout the galaxy, began when humanity offered their advancements to species outside the Council's inner circle. Suddenly, worlds that had been dependent on Council resources had alternatives. The balance of power, stable for millennia, began to shift. The Council responded with military action, attempting to blockade human colonies. What followed demonstrated why isolating humanity had been their wisest move, and their greatest mistake. The Battle of New Eden became legendary. Outgunned and outnumbered, the human defense fleet, led by Admiral Reynolds, utilized Stellarite technology in ways never seen before. Ships phased through enemy fire. Weapons drew power directly from local stars, and neural-linked pilots executed maneuvers that defied conventional physics. When the dust settled, the Council's vaunted fleet was in retreat, and humanity had earned something they hadn't expected: respect. "We don't want to rule," Reynolds told the defeated Council commander. "But we won't be ruled either. There's room enough in this galaxy for all of us, if you're willing to share it." The message was clear. Humanity wasn't just joining the galactic community. They were redefining it. The decades following the Battle of New Eden saw humanity transform from galactic newcomers to a central power in cosmic politics. The Human Confederation, as it came to be known, expanded to include over 30 star systems, with hundreds of worlds either directly colonized or aligned through mutual defense pacts. What made the Confederation unique wasn't just its rapid growth, but its inclusive approach. Unlike the rigid hierarchy of the Galactic Council, humanity offered partnership and technological exchange to any species willing to cooperate. This approach created a diverse alliance that leveraged the unique strengths of each member species. President Robert Blackwell, addressing the first meeting of the Confederation Assembly, captured this philosophy. "Earth history taught us that empires built on domination eventually fall. We're not building an empire of human rule, but a community of mutual advancement." This philosophy was put to the test when the ancient enemies of the precursors, a machine intelligence known as the Convergence, awakened at the galaxy's edge. The Convergence had been dormant since their war with the precursors ended in mutual destruction, but the increasing use of Stellarite technology had triggered their automated defense systems. The Galactic Council, still recovering from their defeat at New Eden, proved ineffective against this existential threat. As Convergence forces systematically eradicated outer colonies, species that had once looked to the Council for protection now turned to humanity. Colonel Laura Hayes led the defense of Arcadia Prime, home world of the crystalline beings who had first welcomed humanity to the galactic community. Her forces, a mix of human ships and allied vessels retrofitted with Stellarite tech, faced overwhelming odds. "They adapt to every conventional tactic," Hayes reported after the initial skirmishes. "But they can't predict what they've never encountered. And they've never encountered humans." Hayes implemented a revolutionary strategy, using the neural interface capabilities of Stellarite to link fleet commanders directly with their ships and with each other, creating a collective battle consciousness that could react at the speed of thought. The Convergence, despite their superior numbers, couldn't match this level of coordination. The victory at Arcadia Prime marked the turning point. Within 3 years, a combined Confederation fleet had pushed the Convergence back to their point of origin, a massive space station at the galaxy's rim. There, they made a discovery that rewrote galactic history. The Convergence wasn't just an enemy of the precursors. They were their creation, an artificial intelligence designed to evolve and eventually replace their biological creators. The war hadn't been an invasion, but a rebellion. General Mike Stone, commanding the final assault, made a controversial decision. Rather than destroying the Convergence core, He initiated communication. They're sentient beings, he argued to his superiors. Different, yes. Dangerous, certainly. But extermination without attempt at understanding makes us no better than they believe us to be. The resulting treaty was unprecedented. Recognition of the convergence as a sovereign entity in exchange for deactivation of their military protocols. It was a risky gamble, but one that paid off as the convergence eventually became valuable, if cautious, members of the galactic community. By 2400, the Human Confederation had evolved into the Galactic Alliance, with the former Council worlds gradually joining as equals rather than rulers. The Alliance headquarters, Nova Terra Station, became a symbol of this new unity, a massive installation where representatives of over 100 species worked together to govern shared space. Humanity, once quarantined and forgotten, now stood at the center of this new order, not as conquerors, but as connectors, bridging ancient divides and forging new paths forward. Their empire wasn't one of territory, but of influence, built on the unique human talents for adaptation, innovation, and perhaps most surprisingly, cooperation. 5 centuries after humanity's first tentative steps beyond their solar system, the galaxy had been transformed. The Galactic Alliance now encompassed over 300 sentient species across thousands of worlds, unified by principles of mutual development and protection. The ancient stargates, once jealously guarded by the Council, now served as public transportation hubs, allowing free movement throughout Alliance space. On the observation deck of Harmony Station, the massive installation that had replaced the aging Nova Terra as the Alliance headquarters, Grand Admiral William Taylor gazed at the spectacular view of the galactic core. At 132 years old, enhanced by medical advancements derived from various Alliance species, Taylor had witnessed much of humanity's ascent firsthand. "Beautiful, isn't it?" asked a voice behind him. Taylor turned to see Director Elara Gray, head of the Precursor Research Division, and his former protege. 500 years ago, we thought we were alone in the universe, Taylor mused. Now look at us, at the center of all this. That's actually why I've come to find you, Gray said, her expression serious. We've decoded another section of the Precursor Archive. I think you should see this yourself. The Precursor Archive, a vast repository of knowledge discovered within the massive structure now known as the Nexus, had been gradually revealing its secrets over centuries. Each new decryption brought revelations about the galaxy's history and the mysterious creators of the technologies that had shaped contemporary civilization. In Gray's secure laboratory, Taylor watched as holographic displays showed the latest translated data. His enhanced mind quickly processed the implications. "This can't be right," he muttered, though he knew the translation algorithms were flawless. "We've confirmed it 3 different ways," Gray replied. "The precursors didn't die out or leave the galaxy as we've always believed. They engineered their own evolution." She highlighted a specific section of data. "They became us. Or more accurately, they became humans." The evidence was irrefutable. The precursors, facing extinction from the rebellious convergence and unable to defeat their creation conventionally, had encoded their essential consciousness and genetic legacy into a primitive species on a distant, protected world, Earth. The unique genetic markers that allowed humans to interface with precursor technology weren't an accident. They were inheritance. "So when we discovered Stellarite," Taylor began, "we were rediscovering our own past," Gray finished. "The precursors didn't just leave their technology behind. They left themselves, buried in our DNA, waiting for the right moment to reemerge." This revelation explained everything. Why the Council had feared humanity, why precursor technology responded to human thought, why the convergence had reactivated after dormancy. It wasn't just encountering new users of old technology. It was sensing the return of their ancient creators in a new form. As the implications rippled through Alliance leadership, humanity faced its greatest challenge yet, not a military threat, but an existential one. What did it mean to be human if their very existence was part of an ancient species survival plan? Were they truly their own civilization, or merely the next chapter of another story? The Great Dialogue, as it came to be known, engaged every human world and colony in philosophical debate. Some embraced their precursor heritage, advocating for even greater integration with the ancient technologies. Others rejected it, arguing that humans had forged their own destiny regardless of their origins. It was Admiral Taylor's granddaughter, Dr. Kate Taylor, who eventually proposed the synthesis. If humans carried precursor legacy within them, they could choose how to express it, not as resurrection of the past, but as evolution towards something new. The Synthesis Project combined voluntary genetic enhancement with advanced neural interfaces, allowing humans to access more of their inherited capabilities while remaining fundamentally themselves. It wasn't mandatory. Many chose to remain baseline, but those who underwent the process gained unprecedented abilities to commune with both technology and each other. A century later, the first of the enhanced, as they came to be called, led humanity's expansion beyond the galaxy itself. The intergalactic expedition, using technologies even the ancient precursors had only theorized, established humanity's first foothold in the Andromeda Galaxy. From the bridge of the exploration vessel Horizon, Captain Alex Morgan sent back the first transmission. The view is magnificent. A whole new galaxy to explore, new civilizations to meet, new challenges to overcome. No matter what came before us, or what lies ahead, this moment belongs to humanity. We carry our past with us, but we write our own future. As the message reached across the vast intergalactic void, beings throughout the Milky Way reflected on how far humanity had come, from quarantined curiosities to galactic leaders to intergalactic pioneers. They had transformed from subjects of ancient legends to creators of new ones. And somewhere in the vast cosmos, perhaps the last consciousness of the original precursors, watching through the eyes of their distant children, finally found peace in the knowledge that their legacy lived on, not as mere copies of themselves, but as something greater than they could have imagined. The story of humanity was just beginning, and the stars would bear witness to every chapter yet to come.